students. I am Lalita S. Umbraskar, Economics teacher, BYK College of Commerce, welcomes you in online lecture series organized by Gokhale Education Society's Central Coordination Committee for Class 11. Today I am going to discuss with you chapter number 5, that is Rural Development in India. In this chapter, I am going to discuss with you the topic source of agricultural credit in India. There are two sources of agricultural credit in India. Number one, non-institutional sources, and number two is institutional sources. Let us see the non-institutional sources of agricultural credit in India. Non-institutional source forms an important source of rural credit in India. Non-institutional source constitutes around 40% of total credit in India. So around 40% of total credit in India comes from non-institutional sources. Interest rate charged by non-institutional sources is very high. Why interest rate charged by non-institutional sources is very high? Because there are no rules and regulation for lending and borrowing money. Next one is the land or other asset are kept as collateral security. Suppose you want a loan from non-institutional sources, you have to keep your property as a collateral security. What is collateral security? Collateral is an asset or piece of property that a borrower offers to a lender as security for a loan. If the borrower fails to pay the loan, the lender has the right to take the asset used as a collateral. First non-institutional source is here money lender. Money lender means rich class, rich section in the society. So money lender means rich class in the society and their main business is lending money. They are known by different names in different regions of India. For example, Saukars, Shrops, Multanis, Baniyats, Khots, etc. So they are known by the different names in different parts of India. They charge huge rate of interest and mortgage the property of the cultivators. What do you understand by mortgage? Mortgage means it is an agreement between you and a lender that gives the lender the right to take your property if you fail to repay the money you have borrowed plus interest. Other private sources are here traders, landlords, commission agents, etc. Credit from relatives, friends, etc. So these are also sources of non-institutional sources. Let us see the institutional sources of agricultural credit in India. Institutional sources are the sources such as banks, financial institutions, private companies, provides loans to the small farmers, marginal farmers, needy people in rural areas. Institutional sources aims at providing timely and adequate credit to farmers for increasing agricultural production and productivity. First institutional source is here NABARD. Now, what is the full form of NABARD? National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. So, it is the apex banking institution to provide finance for agriculture and rural development. What do you understand by apex banking institution? Apex banking institution means topmost institutions to provide finance for agriculture and rural development. It was established on July 12, 1982 with a paid-up capital of rupees 100 crores by 50-50 contribution of Government of India and RBI. It is the apex institution in rural credit structure for providing credit for promotion of agriculture, small scale industries, cottage and village industries, handicraft, etc. The paid-up capital stood at 10,580 crores as on 31st March 2018. Okay, so today NABARD is fully owned by Government of India. Yes, NABARD is fully owned by Government of India means it is a government bank. NABARD supervises State Cooperative Bank (SCBS), District Cooperative Central Banks (DCCBS), and Regional Rural Banks, that is RRBS, and conducts statutory inspection of this bank. That is an important function of NABARD. Where is the headquarter of NABARD? That is at Mumbai. What is the purpose of NABARD? Development assistance and poverty reduction. Let us see the functions of NABARD. Number one is to serve as an apex financing agency for the institutions providing investment and production credit for promoting various developmental activities in rural area. So it is a topmost bank, or you can say apex financing agency for the institution providing investment and production credit for promoting developmental activities in rural areas. Second one is to take measures towards institution building for improving absorptive capacity of the credit delivery system, including monitoring formation of rehabilitation schemes, restructuring of credit institution, and training of personnel. Third function is to coordinate the rural financing activities of all institutions engaged in developmental work. Number 4 is to undertake monitoring and evaluation projects refinanced by it. So evaluation is the also important work of NABARD. So to undertake monitoring and evaluation of project refinanced by it. Number 5 is NABARD gives high priority to projects formed under the Integrated Rural Development Program. So NABARD gives highest priority to the project which are formed under the IRDP. IRDP, that is Integrated Rural Development Program. This is a program introduced by the government for rural sector. Number 6 is it is setting linkages between self-help groups which are organized by voluntarily agencies for poor and needy in rural areas. Next function is NABARD gives assistance for the training and development of the staff of various other credit institutions which are engaged in credit distributions. Number 8 is NABARD also recommends about licensing for regional rural banks and cooperative banks to Reserve Bank of India. So NABARD also recommends to RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, about licensing for regional rural banks and cooperative banks. Next one is it also runs program for agriculture and rural development in the whole country. Let us see the structure of Rural Cooperative Credit Institution. Rural Cooperative Credit Institution is classified into two. Number one is short-term credit cooperatives and number two is a long-term credit cooperatives. Short-term credit cooperatives is based on three-tier structure and long-term credit cooperatives is based on two-tier structure. Let us see the short-term credit cooperatives. This is based on three-tier structure. First tier is Primary Agricultural Credit Societies, that is PACS. Second tier is District Central Cooperative Banks, that is DCCBS. And third tier is State Cooperative Banks, that is SCBS. Let us see the long-term credit cooperatives, that is based on two-tier structure. Under that, first tier is Primary Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Banks and number 2 is a State Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Bank. So first tier here, that is Primary Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Banks which are operate at village level as an independent units, and second tier, that is State Cooperative Agriculture and Rural Development Banks. These banks operate at state level through their branches in different villages. Let us see the next institutional source of agricultural credit, that is commercial banks. Commercial banks provides rural credit by establishing their branches in rural areas. Next institutional source is regional rural banks. They are known as RRBs. These banks are Indian Scheduled Commercial Bank. They are also known as government banks operating at regional level in different states of India. They have been created with a view of serving primarily the rural areas of India with basic banking and financial services. So what is main function of regional rural bank? Provide basic banking and financial services in rural areas. Then now who are the owners of regional rural banks? First owner is Government of India. Second one is a sponsor bank. Sponsor bank is also owner of regional rural bank. State government is also owner of regional rural bank. Government of India is having 50% share with regional rural bank. Sponsor bank is having 35% share with regional rural bank, and state government is having 15% share with regional rural bank. So they are the owners of regional rural banks. Let us see the functions of regional rural banks. Yes, regional rural banks perform various functions in the following heads. Number one is providing banking facilities to rural and semi-urban areas. Number two, carrying out government operations like disbursement of wages of MGNREGA, that is Manarega. What is the full form of Manarega? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So carrying out government operations like disbursement. What is disbursement? Providing fund for the wages of Manarega for government policies. Number three is providing para-banking facilities like locker facilities, debit and credit cards, mobile banking, internet banking, UPI, etc. Let us see names of the regional rural banks in Maharashtra. Number one is Vidarbha Konkan Gramin Bank, and second regional rural bank in Maharashtra is Maharashtra Gramin Bank. There are some NGOs and microfinance companies also working for rural credit in India, working for rural development in India. Some names are given here. Names of NGOs, that is non-government organizations, are given working for rural development in India. Number one is Prama Jyoti Foundation. Number two, Chetna Spreading Goodness. Number three, SMS Foundation. Number four, Sanjeevani Foundation. Number five, Sitaram Jindal Foundation. Number six, Sanhita Organization. Number five, Swades Foundation. Number eight, Salam Bharat Organization. Number nine, Sarda India. Number 10, Pride India. And number 11, SERS India. So these are the names of NGOs working for rural development in India. Some top 10 microfinance companies in India are also there, which are working for rural credit and rural development in India, and their names are: number one, Annapurna Microfinance Private Limited. Number two, Arohan Financial Services Private Limited. Number three, Ashirwad Microfinance Private Limited. Number four, Bandhan Financial Services Private Limited. Number five, BSS Microfinance Private Limited. Number six, Cash for Microcredit. Number 7, Disha Microfinance Private Limited. Number 8, Equitas Microfinance Private Limited. Number 9, ESAF, that is ESAF Microfinance and Investment Private Limited. And number 10, Fusion Microfinance Private Limited. So what I discussed today, what are the sources of agricultural credit in India? There are two sources of agricultural credit in India: institutional sources and non-institutional sources. Here I given one activity or one question to you. You have to identify the concept with the help of following illustration and explain it. So first, what is the first step? You have to identify the concept with the help of illustration, and after that you have to explain it. First illustration I given, I am reading here. Shankar is a marginal farmer and he wants to money to pay engineering fees of his son. Rao Sahib is a rich person in the village. Therefore, Shankar approached to Rao Sahib for financial help. Here you identify the concept and explain it. Second illustration is Jairam is a small farmer in the village and he want loan for agricultural production. Therefore, he approached to Cooperative Credit Society for loan. And finally, thank you for listening my video lecture.